The Jack Welch Management Institute at Strayer University helps you go from, I know the way, to I've arrived with our top 10 ranked online MBA. Gain skills you can learn today and apply tomorrow. Get ready to go from make it happen to made it happen. And keep striving. Visit strayer.edu/Jack Welch MBA to learn more. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chev and has many campuses, including at 2121 15th Street North in Arlington, Virginia.
Introducing the perfect companion to your morning listening routine. AG1's clinically backed formula is now flavor-packed with 3 new delicious flavors, tropical, berry, and citrus. Start the day on a high note with probiotics that taste like the tropics. Mix it up with micronutrients that taste like berry or citrus. And take it all the way back with the classic, AG1 Original, with notes of pineapple and vanilla. Do your health a flavor, or 4, with AG1 Next Gen, the daily health drink. Learn more at drinkag1.com.
Gatorade is the #1 proven electrolyte blend designed to hydrate better than water. So you can lose more sweat and raise your game. Gatorade, is it in you?
Yo, 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 and welcome back to the Banter Boys podcast. My name is Sanji, with me is Elliot. How you doing, boy?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, all good. Slowly recovering from a slightly heavy weekend, so my voice is slightly huskier than normal. Much like yours. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm also recovering from celebrations. After we won the league title, I think I got a bit carried away. I haven't had Ray and Nephew shots since I was in undergrad, which is like eons ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that is the way, you know, when you kind of get carried away with 11, 15, 20 other lads in the team. So yeah.
Of course, congratulations first and foremost.
Cheers. You know what? It's funny. Like, I've shown it to like some other friends and family, and you know, after they've actually read the fine detail on the difficulty level of the league that I've played in, they're like, "Are you really celebrating that?"
Yeah, I think is it a 4th team? Is that what it is? Was it 4s?
It's the 4th team. Yeah. I mean there is 5 teams. So.
Well, there you go. So you're not at the bottom of the barrel. I think the main thing, especially with cricket, it's like a long day. So if you're enjoying it, does it really matter the level too much? It's not as if you're going out there and, you know, just not ever hitting a ball. You're still playing cricket to an okay standard. So,
and the thing is like I tell people as well, is like I don't think you should judge anyone's ability in cricket, because sometimes the shittest balls get you out.
But usually the worst ones, because quite often in your head you're like, I'm going to get in the zone, I'm going to be defending this one, and then a really slow loopy ball comes at you that you've gone to slog and you've just completely mistimed it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess I should kind of let listeners know, for those that are basically in our Discord that don't know who I'm potting with this evening, is community favorite Vaf. I wanted to introduce you as Vaf, but it felt weird. I don't know, for some reason at the start of the pod, but yeah, I'm so glad that you were able to kind of step in to help me out this game week, because Ryan is currently traveling at the moment. I think he's in Edinburgh at the moment. He's supposed to be in London this weekend. He's going to be here for a few days. I'm taking him to his first ever Prem game as well, Brighton versus Man City.
Oh, nice.
So that should be, yeah. So it should be a ton of fun. I think I'm going to Coldplay as well with him on Wednesday. He had a spare ticket for some reason. So never seen Coldplay before, so yeah, first time for everything for both of us. But yeah, another weekend of football in the books. I mean, there are some talking points that I kind of want to get started with. I'll save all the socials for later on.
Of course.
But first game happened on an annoying Friday, as always. I hate when a game week starts on a Friday. But yeah, I guess the biggest news or biggest talking point, other than thrashing West Ham, was Cole Palmer missing out for a lot of managers.
Yeah, I think I'm such a big fan of Cole Palmer. He's a brilliant footballer and just quite an interesting personality. And so it was very sad to see him, I guess, go off before the match in the way he did. But I guess looks like reassuring news today. It seems to be that it's not too major. How do you feel as a Chelsea fan? Are you really concerned, or are you more happy that you've actually got a bit of depth to cover for him?
Yeah, I think the pleasant surprise was how well we performed without him, right?
Agreed.
I think the biggest worry as well was Estevao getting just thrown into the deep end. But yeah, the team just adapted well, especially, João Pedro playing this number 10 spot.
Yep.
And you know what? I've been hearing on different chats and like reading different posts here and there that maybe the injury is a blessing for João Pedro's points and potential
I think so.
to get attacking returns. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how kind of assets thrive without Cole in the lineup. But yeah, happy days, man. But then again, listen, it was against a West Ham team that got smashed 3-0 by Sunderland. So
Exactly.
it's not the perfect litmus test by any means.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, on the Palmer side of things, I'd be interested to see how that game would have played out with him in the team, because you'd like to think it would be very much similar in terms of the scoreline, but in terms of the individual storylines or narrative that's come out as on the back of that, it would be interesting to see. For example, João Pedro, if he'd have gone into that game, everyone's still very much hyped from his Club World Cup performances, expecting goals, and he'd maybe got an assist. I think it would be a very different conversation to right now. People are going, "Oh, what a steal to get him in the second round." And whilst I don't necessarily disagree, especially when Palmer comes back, we don't necessarily know how it's all going to shake out.
Yeah, exactly. Before we move on from this fixture, Enzo Fernandez, obviously we have to touch on him. An asset that I think is a bit debatable at the moment.
Agreed.
I'm seeing a lot of managers wanting to offload him at his high point, so to speak. I know we might have differing views about him, but yeah, how do you feel about him, especially after 2 attack returns and no ghost points to really show for it?
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first time I was on the pod, we had a discussion about Enzo, and I think at that point, very much an Enzo skeptic. I still am an Enzo skeptic, just purely from an ADP point of view. I mean, I think he's a good player, like very good player, clearly, and has got potential to score well. If you were example in the Man United team, he would be the Bruno, playing hero ball, by both ends of the pitch. But I think, unfortunately for me, he is a trade out high if you can, because, like you said, there's no ghost points. I think this season there's just too many cooks.
Yeah.
So for me, he's a trade out. If you can get him, or if you draft him round 4 and he's your mid 2, whatever, fine. I guess just ride the wheels. That's fine. But personally, I feel like Friday may well be the sort of the high point in terms of point scoring for him. He might get a few like that, but that really was a steamroll over West Ham. How do you feel about him?
Yeah, I mean, common sense dictates that it would have been fantastic to draft him in round 3, round 4, but because of how tuned in the community is, and you just assume people draft based off of ADP. For me, it was multiple reasons of why I picked him, is because I felt like he would not have come back around to me. And also, it's just like I'm a massive Chelsea/Argentina fan, and I just really, truly believe in the player. And for me, I'm a big proponent of, I want to draft assets that I'm going to enjoy watching as well. And I do think he's going to tick along the season with goals and assists. Sure, he's not going to be the dependable round 2 pick that you want, especially with the floor of ghost points that we expect from a round 2 pick. But yeah, I mean, I understand both sides of it. For me, I think I would be the party that's happy to receive him for different reasons. But I would not argue against anyone that wants to sell high on him.
Yeah, I think you make a great point and a great case for Enzo, especially from a Chelsea fan perspective. I just think that 90% of people that drafted Enzo in that, end of round 2, start of round 3, did so sort of begrudgingly. The noise I got was people going, I drafted him because I sort of like had to. The other options weren't as good, but they were sort of waiting for him to have a breakout game week to go, finally I can get rid of this guy. Which isn't fair on Enzo, because he is like too good. And round 2 is always a bit of a crapshoot towards the tail end of round 2, always is, because it's the people that don't have the consistency to go in round 1, or the people that maybe should be a round 4 option, but you think, I'll punt, like why not? Let's go slightly higher. So yeah, I completely understand your case, but I think a lot of people were just biding their time with Enzo to try and trade him out. So they might have got lucky with it being game week 2.
Yeah, I mean, look at other round 2 assets that people are umming and ahhing over, like famously Amad Diallo.
Exactly.
Didn't start game week 1, game week 2 got hauled off. I mean, also because he's not a right wing back. But listen, we can make this entire pod about how trash Amram has been utilizing his assets in the system. He's been utilizing them as well. I mean, before we move on from Chelsea, and we're speaking about, high round draft picks not performing based on, like, I guess, draft day value, Florian Wirtz as well. A penny for owners' thoughts, right?
Yeah, I got really lucky actually in the Discord league, the Lifestyle League with Wirtz, because I was pick 6. So I was like, well, it's going to have to be Wirtz. I can't be punting on Isak given all the noise and what's going on. And pick 5 took him, and I managed to get Bruno Fernandes. So I got very lucky there. And the thing is, the annoying thing about Wirtz is he's got all the attributes to be such a Fantrax superstar. Like, on pretty much all sets, playing in a position to just be passing the ball off to Gakpo, who loves just shooting for no reason. Salah, who, again, gets a ton of XG in terms of getting shots away. He's got all the assets in terms of it should be that you put anybody there and they are, doing a decent enough job. And I think long term it will get to that. It does sound like he's going to get punted to the left wing, potentially. That Liverpool fans seem to think that might be the option. But then the way that Gakpo's been playing, I can't see that being rushed. I do have a penny for thoughts for those that did draft him. But I think they made the logical... I think if you... In hindsight, fine. But 99 times out of 100, we'd all make that decision to take him 6th ahead of... after Fernandes or 5th, it did sort of tail off quite quickly.
Yeah, I mean, with the whole hindsight stuff as well, I would, want to say you throw Cunha there at that pick 6 because eye test wise, my God, the man looks like he's still playing for Wolves, a class above the rest. Like again, like it's early days and stuff like that, but yeah, the signs does look promising from him as a forward 1 pick.
Yeah, agreed. I was skeptical on Cunha just in terms of I think we've all been bored to death with the whole overperforming XG last season. How's he going to fit in this system? But when he's playing, he does sort of have that thing in him of like, I'm going to prove you wrong. Even though he's at Man United and he's, he's been gone for a lot of money, I think he still sort of has that South American spirit, that real, it does seem like he's got that, no, I'm going to prove to you that, Man United, even though they are not very good, made a good decision in paying X amount of money for me, I suppose. So I don't disagree with what you just said at all.
Nice. So next fixture was the opening one on the Saturday, Man City versus Spurs. Not surprised by the result. I did expect a tough game from Spurs and especially Thomas Frank. And I mean, Spurs is always a bogey fixture for Man City as well. But for me, the biggest talking point was Reijnders. No ghost points. Thoughts?
I mean, there's been talk within the community Discord channels about Reijnders last week, and I think Reijnders managers got carried away a bit. The revisionist, I am God, I saw this coming, he's like unbelievable. And I think the concern with Reijnders before was he's obviously clearly a very talented footballer, but we didn't know whether he'd be able to 1, cement a place, or 2, ghost. And he is proving that that's the case. I mean, don't get me wrong, people will have got him for value, but he from watching the game, he just didn't really do anything either. He seemed like a player that had come from Serie A into the was new to the Premier League and couldn't necessarily, or hadn't adapted yet to the physicality. What were your thoughts on Reijnders, and what are your general thoughts on him?
Well, I mean, one of those players that again, it was such a small sample size, and Wolves really didn't park the bus or try to defend and gave him a lot of space to operate. And eye test wise, he looks like an absolute baller. An asset that I would definitely want to have on my roster. My only concern is his output slightly being affected because of the way Pep kind of tinkers and, spins his roulette, because this time, I guess game week 1, we saw him operate with Bernardo Silva and Nico Gonzalez, whereas this time around, he was operating with Cherki in the middle. Yep. And I don't know if that slightly affects things. And again, different formation, different system, because I think Pep very much, like many managers in various fantasy games, will probably expect expecting Spurs to play a back five. And I feel like City also expected that and kind of started the game expecting them to play that way. And very quickly things changed. So yeah, maybe it's too early to judge, but it doesn't look good.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. And I think we're talking in a sort of pre-Rodri return moment as well, which could have a positive effect because it could sort of unleash him to just go, right, just basically play in like a drifting KDB 10 situation. Or it could go the other way around in terms of Pep can go, right, I've got Rodri who's going to provide a bit more solidity in midfield. I don't actually need... Do you know what I mean? Like he could revert back to his classics.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be interesting. I do think like, we have some of the most reactive people in the gaming community when it comes to fantasy football. Of course.
I mean,
so yeah, go ahead.
Well, that's part of the fun. In some ways, if you're a manager who is like that, try not to be. And if you're a manager who's in leagues with people like that, make the most of it, because that, like, we are in a situation where, I'm seeing things where people are like, I'm trying to think, just like insane players that they were drafted like round 6 and then they, didn't start for 2 weeks, like they've been dropped. It's like, how on earth has that happened?
Like Harry Wilson, for example, has already been dropped in leagues, and I think that's a bit of a rash move. Like, it's only been 2 game weeks.
I am a Harry Wilson owner, and I do not want to comment on that.
Oh, I can't wait to dig into this a bit later then. All right, next fixture, Bournemouth versus Wolves. Semenyo, round 1 pick, looks proper value.
Yeah, I absolutely love Semenyo, just in terms of he just wants the ball.
Yeah.
He wants to run at people, he wants to be involved. Looks like, thankfully, he's, seems to have been able to come through the horrendous racist comments from the Liverpool fan last week and sort of has just been able to get on business as usual, which is just amazing. But yeah, he just always looks like, one, he loves playing football, which is always a joy to see, and 2, like, enjoys being at the club and just wants to be involved.
Yeah. Shot merchant, but still needs to work on that conversion rate.
Yeah, he probably could have had at least 2 this weekend.
Yeah, easily. Yeah. Okay, next fixture is Brentford versus Villa. Villa can't seem to score goals at the moment, man.
I know. I mean, it doesn't help that they're just playing about 5 central midfielders across the entire mid and attacking, and then just Ollie Watkins on his own up front. I'd be concerned if I was rostering any of those assets, really. I don't know how you feel about Villa at the moment. Can you see them getting out the slump?
Unai Emery's a great manager. I think they still maybe need to add a couple of names to their squad. But, I mean, I feel like just with my chats with John, straight up Brolic from our Discord, our Villa rep, he's always kind of just given me the impression that Aston Villa assets and Fantrax are just shit to own. Like, other than Ollie, like, who do you really want to own?
Yeah, Digne maybe, but then even then, or like Maatsen, if either of them were starting, I think there were some people earlier on going, you can get, round 11 and 12, you can get Digne and Maatsen as a cuff. And it's like, yeah, but you could easily have them getting switched at 55 minutes and you're looking at like 4.5 points, a game week. I do agree with you. I was hoping that Marlon was going to be a breakout this season. I think some Villa fans felt the same after pre-season, but Emery just doesn't seem to fancy him, and that's a real concern.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, you talk about the round that you're getting, the likes of Martin and Digne. You could have probably gotten both Richards and Lacroix to start your season as well. Yeah. And they have been smashing it so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, centre-backs are always going to be slightly less glamorous, but I think, especially with the rule changes, we're seeing a bit more reversion to them just, in terms of like a Tarkowski mode, just like hoovering up points a bit, rather than a full-back bombing down the wing. Yeah, it's great when you get the odd, assist. Yeah. But I think it's not necessarily reliable week on week.
Yeah, exactly. Next fixture, Burnley versus Sunderland. So Sunderland are a team full of humans, not superstars that we thought they were in game week 1. I guess biggest point is Ballard's injury. It didn't look good, especially with no contact.
Yeah, it really didn't look good. I mean, I would say I feel for all those that spent big on him, but I think that also leans into the, the reactive nature we were talking about before. And the thing is, he could have easily had an assist just before it happened as well.
Yeah,
that really does suck. I've not seen any news come out about the injury since then. I don't know if you've seen anything.
No, nothing yet. And I mean, just to kind of timestamp it, we're recording Tuesday evening BST, and Sunderland are playing in the AFL Cup, right? So I was hoping maybe we get an update on that. And I mean, the good thing about community leagues as well, waivers don't clear until the Thursday, so we should get a bit of information by then. I'm tempted to hold him, and especially because of, how well he scored in the couple of minutes that he was on the pitch in game week 2. What was it? Like 5.5, I think, in like 8 minutes or some shit?
Yeah, something crazy. Considering that there was no goal involvement or anything. I'm just going to pull them up.
Yeah. Oh, 3.5 in 8 minutes. But yeah, still, I mean, there's points. The guy is a ghost points machine, and yeah, I'm very, very hesitant to drop him, especially if you're in a league where the options are dire at that point, right? I mean, you will have to bench 5 assets in your game week. If you can find at least 14 other reliable guys, I think it's possibly worth a stash, especially on the eve of the international break.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where if you can hold him for this, to see it through this game week, wait for a bit more information. If it comes out, he's out for 6 weeks, different decision. But it might well be that you hold him for this game week and they say, oh, actually, he's back in training towards the end of the break. You end up for 2 game weeks. I think this game's all about finding those small margins. And that if you drop him now, and it comes out over the international break that he's training again, someone is immediately going to scoop. You're going to be the one to miss him. You don't have dibs on him if you drop him. So,
yeah, 100%. All right, next fixture is the last one on the Saturday. Arsenal versus Leeds.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? Well, with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills. Wait, did I say job title yet? Get started today and see how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Go further with the American Express Business Gold Card. Earn 3 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels when you book through AmexTravel.com. Whether your destination is a business conference or a client meeting, your purchases will help you earn more points for future trips. Experience more on your travels with Amex Business Gold. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. When you visit the doctor, you probably hand over your insurance, your ID, and contact details. It's just one of the many places that has your personal info. And if any of them accidentally expose it, you could be at risk for identity theft. LifeLock monitors millions of data points a second. If you become a victim, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year at lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Odegaard, Saka, both injured. I can't say I didn't see this coming. I just didn't think it would have been this early in the season.
100% agree. I mean, from a league standpoint, it's sad to see. From an Arteta hater standpoint, it's not so sad to see. Mainly, I can say that because it doesn't look like either of them are major injuries, so it's not. It's not one of those. But I think this is something that, looking at last season, Arteta grinds players into the ground. It's what, and I'm not saying he does it on purpose, but in terms of you've got a lot of good players and he just doesn't rotate. I mean, it looks like they're now going to be in a position to do that with some of these signings. But yeah, it's a shame to see it so early in the season, but just hopeful that it's them not being major injuries will force his hand a little bit going forward to just actually, like a bit of a speed bump.
Yeah. Are you keen on Dalman by any chance?
Fantasy-wise or real life?
Let's say both. Especially at least as a streamer for this game week.
No, I don't. I don't think he'll start a game for Arsenal until maybe April.
Okay, fair. So
are you keen?
I mean, I'm gonna write about him in my Sleepers article, which I guess will come out in like 48 hours or so.
Okay.
I mean, it was just hard to ignore the ghost points, and I just assumed because both Odegaard and Saka are missing, Nwaneri might be playing tucked in. But then, obviously you've got the likes of Noni to play on the right side, Trossard on the left. So Arteta has options. I think the fantasy fiend in me is wishing it would be Dalman.
Yeah, I think. Don't get me wrong. It's really fun to talk about and a very fun thing. But then you have to remember he's 15. They were 3 or 4-0 up when he came on, so the game was done. There was no, it wasn't Arteta going, we need to save the game, let's bring on this 15-year-old. It was partly, we know how managers work. Look at the Mourinho pulling out lists of who he gave debuts to. This is Arteta going, I played a 15-year-old. It was me who gave him this thing. It's also Arsenal going, we're going to basically double his asset value overnight because he's won a penalty against Leeds. Realistically, if you were playing FIFA or Football Manager, are you going to be running out Downman on the weekend? No, because you're just going to put Noni on the right, who cost 55 million this weekend. Eze's arguably going to be there to play on the left-hand side. Or Martinelli or Trossard. Or, do you know what I mean? As exciting as the narrative is, I just can't see them going, right, we need to probably be pushing 90-odd points to win the league this season. Let's start a 15-year-old.
Yeah, good point. Okay. First game, I guess there were 2 games at the same time on the Sunday. I'll start with Crystal Palace versus Forest. Ndoye, the new signing that they got on the right-hand side of their midfield. Is he fool's gold by any chance?
For me, yes. Yes, he is. What about for you?
Why do you... Well, I'm not sure, man. Because it's 2 games, 2 attack returns. Obviously, the first one, no ghost points. The second one showed a bit more promise. And... yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit tempted. And he's registered as a forward in Fantrax as well, isn't he?
Yeah, so he's a forward in Fantrax, which obviously I can, lends everybody a bit more, any forward a bit more of a boost this season. But I'm just fading Forest assets this season generally.
Yeah, same.
That situation is primed to implode. And
Marinakis and Nuno.
That's going to blow up. And they just keep signing wingers. So they signed Ndoye, then they signed McAtee, then they signed Amari Hutchinson, then they signed, I've got a feeling, agreed today maybe, another winger maybe coming for about 35 million. We haven't seen Igor Jesus
no.
in the starting lineup.
Who hit the post as well.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, Cho, we don't necessarily know what's going to happen there, but all those assets I've just named, they're all going to want to be playing. That none of them are, kids. Like McAtee's the youngest one, but he's gone there because he's obviously been promised minutes.
Yeah. Kalimuendo.
Say it again, sorry.
Kalimuendo as well. I don't know if he's a winger. Yeah.
I'm not sure, but it's just countless people. And then you're going to have to factor in very soon Europa League's going to start. And then you're carrying them into a Sunday.
Yeah.
So unless you've got 2 of them, you're thinking, you're like, can I bank on Ndoye? I think if you drafted him, you're happy enough, ride it. You got him probably round 10 or later, that's fine. But I feel like they've not really had a heavy test as yet.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to sell high.
I'd be very tempted to sell high. Obviously, it depends what you can get, but I think he looks much more glamorous at the moment than he actually is as a Fantrax asset.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, next game, Everton versus Brighton. Oh my god. How did Brighton not score? But really, the person I want to talk about is Jack Grealish, man. I'm so happy that he's playing football again.
Genuinely, I was watching... So I didn't watch that one live. I was watching the highlights back on Match Today and just grinning, seeing him in full flow. And that's really sad. I'm not an Everton fan, obviously. My dad's a big Everton fan. I'm sure he was happy. But generally, just watching it back, just being it's good to see someone who just loves playing football and loves the game having a nice time.
Yeah, honestly. And his first goal that he contributed with
God.
was prime Villa Jack Grealish.
Yeah,
it was great to see.
Run at the byline, whack it across, and it was basically just anybody get anything on it and it will go in.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, I feel like Moyes might have kind of landed into a perfect system with having Jack on one side and Njai on the other.
No, I completely agree with you. I think it's for the fans as well. It's quite exciting, which then doubles the sort of feeling in the stadium and pushes them on as well, if that makes any sense. 'Cause I think Jack's very much, or seems to be, sorry, first name terms, Grealish very much seems to be, thrives off the confidence that he's given. And Njai does seem similar as well. If he's got fans that love him, he does perform better. I think, Dewsbury Hall looked solid again. I think he's going to keep them ticking over nicely. I think, obviously the Grealish second assist was almost a Diouf-esque, here's the ball, do something mental with it. But yeah, you take those.
Yeah, definitely. All right. The final game on that Sunday was United versus Fulham, and I mean we kind of touched on Cunha as well being class. I don't know. Were there any other standout points for you from that game?
I wasn't really impressed by Fulham. I know they managed to get the result, but especially from a Fantrax perspective, you don't look at any of that team and go, "Oh, I really want to get a piece of them," or "I really want to own them." I think even similar from United, obviously. Hamad was disappointing considering we know how talented he can be. I think the reaction over Bruno is, in terms of fan, insane. Like if he scores that goal, he gets 20 points. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Exactly.
Yeah, if there's anyone in your league that's looking to trade out Bruno, just get him in. Just like the penalty. I know there's a lot of consternation about the referee and him knocking him, putting off his routine. I'm sure it did, but I'm glad that he seemed to have owned it in the press conference after, I should be putting those things away. But I can't imagine that. I'm sure there'll be some people who'll be trying to barter with Man United owning managers or Bruno managers saying, maybe he'll be off pens. I doubt it, given his insane record. It's sort of one of those things. I don't know. How did you feel about it? I wasn't blown away by anyone on either side, really, apart. Cunha looked really good, but...
Yeah, I mean, United started hot, but then after Bruno missed the pen, I feel like momentum kind of changed. It kind of, and then Fulham kind of grew into the game. And then, as we've kind of seen all of last season as well, Marco Silva making really good substitutions and his subs just getting the goals and getting the results. I think this is just what Fulham is kind of known for at this point. Not the greatest game of football, but I think... It was basically polar opposite of the next game I want to talk about is the Monday night game, Newcastle versus Liverpool. One of the games of the season. I know it's only been 2 game weeks, but Jesus Christ, Newcastle really deserved more from that.
Yeah, I think it was one of those where coming into that match, there was Newcastle fans like, we're going to give them hell, it's going to be crazy. And there's part of you thinking it's going to be 0-0 and it's just, going to sort of teeter out. And then within the first, 5-10 minutes, you're like, oh no, this is going to be nuts.
There's gonna be blood. Honestly, it was like, and obviously, this is gonna sound hella obvious, but the way Newcastle were playing, the entire game in my head, I'm just like, oh, if only there was a number 9 to finish these opportunities and these chances and these crosses, and it's absolutely crazy. And for me, the most frustrating thing about Liverpool was, on either ends of the pitch, Konate was horrible and Ekitike was horrible in his moments as well. Like, sure, Ekitike has attacker returns in both game weeks, but he's still, he still has ways to grow.
Yeah, the Ekitike situation is one that's frustrated me because there's a lot of people sort of, again, revisionist, like, I knew he was going to be amazing. He looks amazing. It's like, he doesn't look amazing. Like, he looks really gangly and sort of not in control of all of his limbs. He looks dangerous, don't get me wrong, and his finishes have been decent enough. But if I'm watching those matches, I'm not thinking, oh my God, I've got a stud. I'm watching it going, I'm praying he keeps this up.
That's
certainly how I feel. Konate, Jesus, absolutely gone. Absolutely gone. I was going to say, I feel like Newcastle could do with calling Arsenal, asking for Mikel Moreno to come back to the club, getting back up front.
Yeah, honestly, it was a horror show by Konate. He honestly got bailed out by Rio Messi, as he's lovingly called in our Discord. All right, cool. So I think that's a nice bit of a recap. What I'm gonna do now is all the social plugs. So listeners, I probably should have said this at the start, but welcome back to the Banter Boys podcast. We are a default Fantrax pod. You've caught us on our regular week-to-week free episode where we kind of just do a recap of every game week, and the reason I say free is because we have additional content on our Patreon where I do waiver episodes and sometimes inside tracks, and we're gonna try and do an inside tracks episode as well, especially with the international break coming up. Maybe we'll get a couple of managers on there, maybe a derby pod, or a couple of managers whose clubs are actually facing off against each other in the coming game weeks. But yeah, in terms of tonight's episode, the typical format is we have 2 halves. In the first half, we do a bit of a data dump. So we recap the previous scoring game week, which would be game week 2. And then we catch up in our league, see how we're doing there. We take a halftime pint and then jump back into the break after to answer questions that we get from our Discord community, which is free to join. All you need to do is DM me for a link, and happy to send that to you right away. But yeah, other than that, what I'm gonna get Ross to do is quick social plugs. So Ross, please do that right here.
Yeah, for sure. So you can message us on Twitter and Instagram. Our handles at BantaB. On Discord, in the Draft PL channel, Banta Boys, #6585. On Reddit, /Banta_Boys. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, and YouTube, all under the name of Banta Boys.
Okay, so hopefully you've listened to Ross. If you're listening to us on Spotify or YouTube, if you don't mind giving us a thumbs up, a 5-star rating, all that pretty stuff, it just helps all the algorithms, spreads the word about us, and helps us to grow our community. And, just to meet some fantastic individuals like Elliot himself, and, meet other Inside Tracks members, potential, new clubs that will enter the EPL ecosystem as well. But yeah, again, comments, likes, subscribes, all that fancy stuff. Don't need to bang on about that much longer. So I think what we'll do is kind of get started with our data dump right away as well.
Fantasy with the Banta Boys.
Okay, so looking back at Game Week 2, we're going to start off with key passes as always. So highest number of key passes recorded in Game Week 2 was 4 by 4 players, in fact. Evan Nilsson, Keenan Dewsbury-Hall, Minter, and James Ward-Prowse. And then 3 key passes by a bit of a long list here. Damsgaard, Grealish, Will Hughes, Sasa Lukic, Mbeumo, Mitoma, Rice, Semenyo, Tielemans, and Stach. Thoughts, Elliot?
I think there's a few fluky ones in there, but there's also some that I am really interested in. So I think let's not focus on your golden boy, James Ward-Prowse. I think he's one that might lose his spot going forward. And another one of your golden boys, Lukic. I think we should maybe ignore those, seeing as he was on corners. Evan Nilsson is who I'd want to pick out of that bunch, because 4 key passes, very unlucky not to get 1, if not 2 assists. And then I think we're looking at a very different prospect realistically. I know he scored okay. I think it was around 8 points, which you'll take, but that could very easily have been a 20-point game week.
Yeah, very right.
Anybody you'd want to focus on from the list?
From key passes, I mean, I'm a bit of regret not drafting Damsgaard. Like, I feel like Damsgaard would have been a better round 2 pick than Enzo if we're speaking about ghost point perspective and being the main focus of like creativity of a team. I think I just doubted Brentford way too much given the spine of the team that they lost, especially with the head coach as well. Minter, very unfortunate. Owners didn't get more points, especially after Danny Welbeck missed that absolute sitter. I'm still unsure on Mitoma as an asset. I think he can be a bit trappy. Will Hughes, I'm not going to touch on either. Exactly. But I think Rice, I mean, it's just, regular business with him being on corners. I think he's going to just have those games where he'll just randomly get you a double-digit score and you won't even have to blink or think about it too much. I mean, Stach.
What a guy.
What a guy. Like,
what a guy.
Another few key passes in this game. I think he got a yellow card in this one as well.
He did.
So
he also injured Odegaard.
So he's doing a lot of good things,
Nasty
especially for people like Haroon, right? But yeah, I mean, people I think are still a bit skeptical about him. I rolled him out this game week, even though it was against Arsenal, and I mean, he scored more than the options that I had on my bench, like the likes of Fulkrug or Solanke and stuff like that. Are we convinced now he's just a solid mid-4, mid-5?
I mean, you've got to be. So, I mean, full disclosure, I drafted him, so I was ahead of the curve.
Same.
Yeah, me and you both. So for me, it really is a free hit. I think the interesting thing with him this weekend was that he racked up 3 key passes in like the first 20-25 minutes and then sort of did nothing from there. But that, for me, sort of bodes well in terms of before it was sort of beaten out of them by Arsenal just being a much better team, he was still getting involved. And I think there was concerns there, rightly, about what his role would be in the team with Ampadu going off injured the game before. But he was playing left-sided A or box-to-box midfielder, which is what you want to sort of be racking up those sorts of points. So I think, I very much do think he is worth having on your roster. He's going to always be starting. You can always just plug him in, even if you're not sure on even if you don't fancy them to win that match, you can probably put him in there and think the floor's going to be 7 or 8.
Yeah, exactly. But other than that, I mean, just James Ward-Prowse, man. It's just so funny that I finally accepted, you know what, I'm not going to touch him this season, and then he just goes and drops that massive ghost point game. And I know this is like the perfect scenario where it's just going to trap me into going back there. I'm going to roster him. I'm going to start him. I'm going to regret it. And it's just going to be a toxic cycle all over again.
Of course it is, yeah. You're going to be like, oh, James, okay, you've won my heart back. And then he's going to go out, play 71 minutes, get 3.5 points, and just do a whole load of nothing. Yeah, I think it's one of those where it's better off, if you're listening to this and you're in leagues with me, waste a load of fab on him. That's what I really want you to do. I think, but then but generally speaking, I would say it's just easier to avoid him. Like, if he does absolutely tee off this season, then great. Something mental has happened for that to occur. But I can't see it being sustainable. I think the game week 1 is probably closer to his value than game week 2 side.
Or an average of both points, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Or even more frustratingly, 3 weeks of game week 1 and then 1 week of game week 2. And you've had to roll him out, either all of them or the time you bench him is when he goes and drops 12 points.
Yeah, and I'd rather stack instead of James Ward-Prowse, to be honest.
Like every single time, 100%. Yeah. One thing I did want to say on that, I know it's key passes, but Damsgaard just looked so good this weekend.
Oh, I mean, robbed of a genuinely fantastic goal as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think people rightly had some concerns because towards the tail end of last season, his points tally did dwindle a bit. And he was, dropping a lot of 4.5s, 5.5s, that sort of thing. And then obviously with him having last week out due to the birth of his child, I think it was understandable that people are, that massive sort of upset within households is naturally going to give people some concern as to his output. So it's, definitely for those owners that did have that wobble, it was nice to see them rewarded, but everything went through him this weekend. Yeah,
exactly. All right, so now shots and how many were on target. Highest number recorded was 4 in Game Week 2 by just 3 players. Ayari had 2 of his 4 on target, and he only played 66 minutes. Semenyo had 1 of his 4 on target, and then Watkins had 0 of his 4 on target. There was like a long list for 3, and I didn't want to go through all of that. But yeah, quick thoughts, Elliot.
I mean, Ayari's really surprised me because watching the game back, he didn't really stand out or scream out, and his ghost points aren't crazy.
Same.
So that is really interesting. Semenyo, I think we touched on it beforehand. He really should have put 2 of those away, to be perfectly honest. Watkins, the fact he's getting those number of shots off is encouraging, but also suggests, considering they're sort of just relying on him to do a lot of the sort of main thrust, is it a matter of him just, I've not looked at the data in terms of where those shots are coming from, but is it him just trying to take on too much and just thinking, I just need to put up a load of shots and hopefully 1 or 2 of them will come off? If that's the case, that would concern me as an owner because, not on target, so that's 0 points,
Yeah, and I don't think any of the other Aston Villa assets ended up in the second highest number, like 3 shots attempted tier either. If I had to pull it up real quickly, give me 1 sec, let me see. Yeah, so after Watkins, second highest number was 2, and it was just a flurry of players like Buendia, Mings, Onana, Rogers, Tielemans. It's all great, right? And only 1 of them had a shot on target, and that was Amadou Onana. The last person you'd want getting a shot on target from that list.
Yeah, I mean, that's not what you want to be hearing, especially from a Fantrax perspective.
Exactly. All right.
Lowe's has the Labor Day deals you need to give your home a new look. Buy one, get one free select interior paint via Visa gift card rebate. Then, add the final touch with 2 for $8 on select 2.5 or 3-quart mums. Refresh your home and save big while doing it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 9/3. Mums offer in-store only. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details.
New season, new chaos in college football.
Let's go! Big stage, big opportunity.
This Labor Day weekend, the wildness lives on ABC, ESPN, and the all-new ESPN app.
What a way to start!
Featuring top 10 teams like Clemson, Notre Dame, Alabama, and LSU, and Bill Belichick's debut at North Carolina.
It's so special when these teams collide.
Don't miss a lineup filled with electric matchups.
Welcome back to college football.
Kickoff week presented by Modelo. Labor Day weekend on ESPN and ABC. Also available to stream on the all-new ESPN app.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contracts. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Right. Accurate crosses into the box. Highest number was 3. Only one player. Dylan Munoz. Quick thoughts, Elliot.
Really encouraging to see. I think some people understandably had a couple of concerns as to how they'd bounce back after playing on Thursday, but great to see that he's just continuing to be as consistent as he was last season.
Yeah, agreed. Gem of an asset. For me, it was too high round 2 for me to draft a defender. That's why I avoided him. But yeah, I think managers who own him will still have a lot of fun rolling him out this season. All right, finally, extra categories and the outliers for those. Tackles, 1, highest number was 4 by Yarmul Yuk. Dispossessions, highest was 4 by Semenyo. Interceptions, a high of 4 by Sangare. Clearances, a high of 13 by Virgil van Dijk. Successful dribbles, a high of 5 by Minter. Aerials, a high of 8 by Mings. And block shots, a high of 3 by Coyote. Thoughts, Elliot?
I mean, the VVD one, the Van Dijk one, is interesting because that's, I guess, 2 game weeks in a row now where he's been like ghosting quite well, and that's partly because their defense has just been terrible. And I guess he's, we've had this in the past with teams where they don't need to be a great defense for them to ghost, because partly it's just they've got to do a lot of stuff. So I think that's one to keep an eye on. If they manage to find a formula where their defense solidifies a bit, it might actually be less helpful for his output. So no, that's definitely interesting. And the fact that Newcastle were all over them meant that he was super busy. Really happy for Coyote. I know it's only block shots, but he filled up the stat sheet a bit, looked just a bit more settled and impressive. Other than that, I mean, the successful dribbles from Minte, that's sort of what we'd expect. But I'm not sure on Minte. After last week, and Brighton don't really look too fluid, so I'm not actually sure how reliable his floor is going to be this season. I know he probably should have had an assist and could have gone higher, but I could easily see another boom and bust season for him.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the reason why I avoided Minter and maybe the likes of Matoma is just I don't trust Herzler to have a consistent starting 11 game week in, game week out. And I don't want to, be pining over team sheets. If that was the case, I would have just rostered Man City players the entire season. So it's shocking to me, like when I was, prepping for my Sleepers article for this week as well, Coyote's ownership, I think, fell under 60%, and he was an option for, which is bizarre to me, how people are losing patience with assets so early that we were all, obviously high on draft day for a particular reason. And then people are talking about, wavering in Mings and stuff like that. Like, people need to remember, Aston Villa defenders are as trappy as Man City ones.
Yeah, no, 100% agree with you. That's not to say they're not going to have the odd positive game week, but trying to guess those is nigh on impossible.
Exactly. And for me, if I was going for a Villa defender, I'm probably going to go Matty Cash, given the fact that he took 7 corners or something, which is ridiculous.
I don't understand that. I feel like because Emery just basically never watched him ever take a corner, and then last week went, he's actually pretty good. Let's get him on all of them.
Yeah, it's really, really bizarre. Anyways, I think now what we'll do is move on to our next segment, which is league updates. So Elliot, we'll start with you since you're a guest. Please tell me, how did Game Week 2 go for you?
Thank you. So a double-edged sword in that I was the second highest scorer, but I was against the highest scorer.
That is so gut-wrenching, man.
It was, and I mean, I got quite lucky in terms of goal involvements, but my opponent, like pretty much every player they had just lots of goal involvements and not a huge amount of goal. So they had Jadon Anthony, these things happen.
Yeah.
Tino Livramento, obviously last night, who, it was a great ball, but had done not much in terms of ghost point wise until that had gone in. Midfield had a similar situation. So who do they have up front? I'm trying to think. Brennan Johnson scored a goal and still got under like 13 points. These things happen.
That's Brennan though.
You can't expect much else. So that was a shame. But coming out of it, I think I only ended up playing 10 starters and got like 115 points. So it could be a lot worse.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the positives that I kind of like to take from a game, because even if you lose and your roster puts up 100 points, I see that as a positive. Especially, like when you mentioned, you almost come up against a perfect storm in that sense. So, I mean, I'll kind of quickly mention mine as well. So my IGL, I'll start with, I got a win, 128 versus 105 against one of our mods, Draftash. Great guy. Standout performers, Pickford, Chalobah, Delict, Enzo, Rice, Jaden Anthony we mentioned. I mean, Delict, he is showing some amazing ghosting numbers, and I really hope this isn't a flash in the pan, because he's almost as reliable as a defender one without the ceiling.
Yeah, I think it's similar to what we're talking about with Van Dijk. It's just quite often the defense is quite chaotic, so we're just having to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
In terms of Fantrax managers, that's exactly what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Regrets in that one, nothing really, because Robbie proxied my team like a champ, unlike my draft pod co-host, Ryan. Roster concerns would be the Ballard injury. I'm wondering whether or not I should be benching Aaron Wan-Bissaka for a bit, just given how terrible West Ham are at the moment. Beto Alcaraz rotation as well in that Everton team. I mean, I feel like they're too good, especially Alcaraz more so than Beto, to be dropping into the waiver pool. Just because it wouldn't surprise me if Moyes just randomly rotates someone in that starting 11. And maybe the Keenan Dewsbury Hall spot as well, because I think Alcaraz is more of a number 10 than a winger. Which, I mean, you saw the difference in Everton's play in Game Week 1, Game Week 2, when they had two wide players versus, just a conglomerate of just a mix of number 10s. And just you could tell, like, Moyes didn't know what his best system was yet. And then I was wondering if you could give me some trade advice for getting a better forward, because I believe my forward one in this roster is Jørgen Strand Larsen.
Okay. Yeah, well, you're uber high on Jørgen Strand Larsen as well, so that's, that's part of the issue there. I think this is the words on everyone's lips at the moment, really, which is trade advice for a better forward. I think part of the issue is people are valuing forwards too high on both sides. So in terms of if you've got a forward and you get in what's probably a decent offer, you're going out of hand, you're just dismissing it, when realistically it's probably a reasonable offer, or maybe even overpay. But because the other side are also saying, crap, I need to get forward in, I need to be getting a decent forward in. So in terms of that team, in terms of the trade advice, for a better forward, I know you've said about benching Wan-Bissaka for a bit. Why don't you use him as trade bait? If you're going to be benching someone you probably spent round 6 on, as just a guess.
Yeah. But it's like, what level of forward can I target with an Aaron Wan-Bissaka?
Well, I guess that's the thing. My view would be, unless you're able to get in one of the elite forwards, don't bother. Don't waste your time. And that's not me just to you. That's generally to everyone. I think people will be looking at it going, oh, should I try and get in a Mateta? I like Mateta. Don't bother. Like, you're going to be paying too much for what is probably an asset that you can get somewhat close to on a waiver wire or streaming each week. I think for me with forwards throughout the season, there's always people that just pop up unexpectedly and are good assets. Like, I know, for example, last season you had a great run with Raul Jimenez, right?
Yep.
Who, myself included, very much overlooked and just thought, he's not going to hold his place. And then for 6 weeks is a forward one.
Yeah.
So I think, because I'm looking to do the same. We'll touch on my team in a minute. In another league, looking to do the same in terms of forwards. I didn't draft one until round 4, but then I look at it and go, but I'm giving away someone who's more valuable on the whole to get in a forward that is, for example, might be very goal dependent, or might ghost well, but has rotation issues. Like a lot of people will have spent huge draft capital on Omar Mamouche, who did game week 1 was on the bench. This week started and did nothing.
Came off before 60.
Yeah, exactly. Came off before 60. Didn't really ghost. Like nothing really happened. And then I think you look at that way and go, hang on. You know, if you flip it on your head, I know a lot of people said this pre-draft. You know, you only have to start one.
Yeah,
it's true. Literally, you need one.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask you that. It's like, are we now in the season that, hey, can I just play 4-5-1 or 5-4-1? Because the defenders, like, you know, for example, the likes of Delict or Ballard that are popping up with this massive ghost point potential, and if they can get you like 9 to 10 points, like, honestly, we've noticed as well with number 9s, like, they sometimes can be so goal dependent that
it's crazy.
Maybe starting one of the ghosting defenders is better than starting one of the cheap forwards.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately it's, you know, put your best 11 out there in whatever formation that is.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be less fun than racking up a team that's got, you know, loads of goals. You know, you get the notification on your phone, you're like, oh my God, or you're watching it, like, oh, great. Like, you can really, really see it happening. But ultimately, we're in this to win matches. You know, that's the most fun. Ideally, you're having fun both ways, but the most fun is the satisfaction, you know? So, I think there's definitely, we're all looking for a better forward where possible, but I think it comes to a point where if you look at it and you've got 4 decent forwards in your team, there's part of me that's, what's the point? If you've got 4 decent forwards and like only 1 or 2 good midfielders, just change the roster construction up, because this season forwards are just, as in very average forwards, are being overvalued.
Yeah, agreed. All right, before we go on to my DPL, I'll give you a chance to kind of finish off your DPL as well. You didn't really mention the standouts, the regrets, any concerns about your roster.
Apologies. So, Calafiori, 2 very, very, what should we say, deserved assists for Calafiori, I think. He was just absolutely lights out. My defence generally, so Calafiori, Munoz, Porro, all comfortably double
premium
digits.
Defence.
Round 2 and round 3 I spent on, but that's what I was looking at. I was saying I can spend a round 3 on, you know, a decent forward, or I can sign Porro, or I can pick up Porro.
People went McNeil, right?
Exactly. Lucas Paqueta picked up off the waiver wire last week. That's an exact reaction, right?
I love this comeback story, by the way, that you've kind of brought up in Discord, and I'm fully on board with it. I mean, just to also, help with us time-stamping the pod. I mean, a few minutes ago, I was looking at West Ham leading their game against Wolves in the EFL Cup 2-1. They're down 3-2. Oh, wow. But Paqueta with another goal.
I just feel like, so this is, for anybody that's not in the Discord, this is the narrative I touched on. So I picked him up on the waiver wire last week. The fact he was there is insane, and I spent, you know, I think it was $2 on him. And I think someone asked, you know, why Paqueta? And I was like, at that price, it's a free hit. He's got history of being good. If this West Ham team are going to be good, he's going to have to be picking up form.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. And, you know, the betting scandal situation seems to have sort of drifted off a bit. You know, it probably won't happen, but, you know, Potter could say, Lucas, back on pens, you know, like, and then all of a sudden the values shooting back up. It was just one where I looked at it and just thought, we know he's a great footballer. There is a brilliant footballer in there. And there was also some talk last week about Spurs potentially sniffing around if they struggled to bring in a 10.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know whether I'd prefer that or not, because I quite like having him on a West Ham team that are sort of desperate for some sort of inspiration. But it was purely based on, well, the numbers were there previously. His talent hasn't disappeared.
Yeah. I think it's one of those situations that we see it happen all the time in Fantrax, is that the system can really affect the output of the Fantrax asset. Even if he's an absolute bowler, he can just be a shit asset in the game.
Yeah, 100%. And it happens all too often. I mean, we touched on him briefly earlier, but Ahmad earlier, at the moment, he's in that sort of no man's land of what position am I supposed to be playing? If I'm playing, you know, if you have him as a right wing back in terms of what would be like an old school Beckham right midfielder, you know, just sort of mainly on that side with a defender behind him, I think he can do that no problem. But if you're expecting to do a lot of defensive work, he'll run and run and run, but he wants to be bombing forward. So I think that's one of those where for those that drafted him, hopefully he'll turn it around. But sometimes the system just doesn't work for some players.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to shout out Pedro Neto, who
I
know
great player
scored and didn't necessarily ghost, but he just looked good, man. He I feel like I don't understand how it happened because I felt like he should have watching the game. He was ghosting in terms of getting involved with bits. I think Estevao was very greedy with one chance where he'd beaten a lot of men and literally could have just left it for Neto to put it in. But I mean, I think that was an 18-year-old's brain sort of saying, the headlines are here. So those are my standouts. But generally across the team, they performed well. In terms of regrets, Bruno missing the pen, I've touched on that before.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have flipped everything around. Matty O'Reilly not being given the pen, which I think
bollocks.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. I don't know whether Welbeck pulled rank or he kindly gave it to Welbeck, but
he gave it to Welbeck when I saw highlights.
Which is very generous of him, very handsome, very nice man. But don't be doing that again. Just take the goddamn penalty. I also had dropped Ryan Sessegnon last week, and I know he didn't blow anyone away, 7 points, but it's one that I liked to roster him, and it was a shame to see.
Good player, right?
Yeah, exactly. Great player. So that's in terms of my standouts and regrets. I'll touch on my roster concerns, I suppose. Forwards, same as everyone. So, like I said, I didn't draft a forward until round 4, which is Pedro Neto. I'm lucky to get him there because I think he's a round 3 asset, really.
Agreed.
Other forwards, Rutter, obviously, just missed this game week, which is a shame because I think he probably would have. That might have been a different result for Brighton. I think if they were a bit more cohesive there. Nicholas Jackson, who God knows what's going to happen there. I mean, it looks like Bayern, but I've just got to ride it and see what happens.
You never know.
I mean, you never know. Yeah, exactly. And then Marlon, who it's just not happening for. So that would be a concern. But similar to you, I'm thinking, looking at other teams and looking at players. I very nearly got a trade over the line last week for Gyökeres for Munoz.
Oh, really? What was the offer? Oh, one for one.
One for well, we were sort of toying with the 2 for 2 with Lewis Hall on his side, but on a 1 for 1. And whilst I felt, do I regret that a bit? Having watched the game and looking back at the stats, I don't, because there's just no ghost whatsoever. The first goal, great run, running out the defence, but who just kept backing off for some reason and just let him shoot. Great finish, don't get me wrong, but you'd imagine a lot of teams wouldn't do that. And then the penalty was a brilliant penalty, Harry Kane-esque, whipping into that corner. But debatable whether it was even a penalty in the first place. So and with Jackson potentially leaving, that would be sort of a hole to plug. I would say the injury to Jorginho, but it looks like he's going to be back, arguably already for this week.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, be patient, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not wildly concerned about that. And then the other one would be Harry Wilson. Sort of, is he going to go back to his riding the bench, yes or no? But I've been oddly plugged into Fulham conversation around this because I drafted both him and Sess, and Wilson was obviously, as we know, like shit hot in pre-season. And the thing is, when he came on, they were so much better. I know ESR came on as well, but it's just one of those where it's just thinking they don't seem to be making any signings. I can't see that Kevin signing really happening now. It's 5 days and it sort of seems to have gone quiet. But it's frustrating that I'd rather Marco Silva just be either behind him or he's going to be my, last 15-minute saviour, because he is brilliant at that. And I don't think there's any problems, what they now class as a finisher rather than subbing on. But I think that's one that is a concern for me. Obviously he's not my midfield one, but he has massive upside when he does play because he's on sets.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
and he was brilliant in preseason as well. So
it's just ridiculous in preseason, and I think he is quite often every season. But I think he's only got 12 months left in his contract. So I think from what I can gather, and apologies if I'm wrong on this, but I think some Fulham fans were hoping that Marco had said to him, "Right, I'm really gonna lean into you this season." I don't know if you saw this earlier, but Andreas Pereira is now left. He's gone to Palmeiras.
Yeah, I saw you drop the pour alcohol out emoji in our Discord. I was like, I didn't ask about it, but I assume it was either injury or departure.
Yeah, so as far as I know, he's gone to Palmeiras.
Right, okay.
Which I know it doesn't necessarily directly affect, but in terms of set pieces, it was always who's going to take the set pieces? And obviously, I know Lukic has taken a lot this weekend, but I think Harry Wilson is the number one guy in this group to use Vanderpump Rules reference.
Yeah,
so that would be the minor gripes, minor concerns.
Yeah, I mean, I love Pedro Neto as your forward option. So my question about him, and it's kind of similar to Enzo as well, like, do we really care that much about ghost points when we have quality assets from top 4, top 5 teams that we know will score more goals than others and will get attacking returns?
I think it depends on the position. My concern with Enzo is he's nowhere near as close to goal as Pedro Neto is.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So
I think Pedro Neto, it's easier to take that gamble and easier to digest that gamble.
Yeah, and also Pedro Neto, whilst he didn't go this weekend, ghosted quite well last weekend and is on corners, or on a lot of corners. So, I know the floor hasn't necessarily been there. You can see the foundations of the floor underneath the house, if that makes sense. Whereas Enzo can have that. The Palmer situation will change things. But yeah, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't looking at potentially trading Neto out.
Hey guys, it's CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm partnering with Abercrombie this season to tell you all about their viral denim. All you need to know is denim should fit like this. My jeans need to check a lot of boxes. Fit first, trend second. They need to go with whatever I'm feeling. And Abercrombie denim has it down, whether I'm throwing on a tee or putting a whole fit together. Shop Abercrombie denim in the app, online, and in store.
Eczema isn't always obvious, but it's real. And so is the relief from Ebglyss. After an initial dosing phase, about 4 in 10 people taking Ebglyss achieved itch relief and clear or almost clear skin at 16 weeks. And most of those people maintain skin that's still more clear at 1 year with monthly dosing.
Ebglyss, lebrikizumab LBKZ, a 250 milligram per 2 milliliter injection, is a prescription medicine used to treat adults and children 12 years of age and older who weigh at least 88 pounds or 40 kilograms with moderate to severe eczema, also called atopic dermatitis, that is not well controlled with prescription therapies used on the skin or topicals, or who cannot use topical therapies. Ebglyss can be used with or without topical corticosteroids. Don't use if you're allergic to Ebglyss. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Ebglyss. Before starting Ebglyss, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Searching for real relief? Ask your doctor about Ebglyss and visit ebglyss.lilly.com or call 1-800-LILY-RX or 1-800-545-5979.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Life gets easier with great assists, and State Farm is here to dish one your way. Get in touch over the phone or on the app to get the teammate you need. State Farm with the assist. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability and eligibility vary by state.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I would love to get Neto in. And I mean, listen, I truly believe in like the emotion of the game and all that. And especially after having lost his best friend, Diogo Jota, this year, I just feel like he's just going to kick on from that as well, in a sense. Like, yeah, I'm that's the way I'm kind of looking at it, at least. And I know it's early days and all that. I was also going to suggest maybe you try and do a trade for my forward one, Strand Larson, because he scored a brace tonight against West Ham. And funny enough, there was a name that I brought up in chat as well that I think you were the only one to kind of reacted, was Chachua, the wingback from Wolves. He assisted Strand Larson for that third goal.
Yeah, so we got like 7.5 points or something on the weekend coming on. I think it's. I know that we've had discussions in the Discord about Wolf on the left-hand side, but he was just rubbish this weekend and got taken off. But I am interested in the right-hand side. Nelson Semedo, at times, used to be like super exciting. You'd have 3 weeks of him getting, 16 points each week, and you're like, oh my God, has he finally cracked it? And then it would sort of fall again. But I hadn't seen any of the goals or the goal scores from tonight yet, so that's really interesting to note because he's going to be free in every single league.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like he's a tidy waiver wire pickup, especially, we're talking about trading out these assets like Wan-Bissaka or something like that. There are going to be some gems that are going to come up in this last week, especially with the transfer window still open, right? So again, I feel like try not to be too reactionary. Be a bit patient because, you might land some genuine gems in these coming days. Cool. Should I then cover my DPL league as well? Okay, so I had a loss there, unfortunately, 135 to 104. But again, it's one of those situations I mentioned where I crossed that 100-point barrier and I wasn't too upset, especially because I came up against the likes of Juran Timber and Pickford.
Okay.
So it's like when that happens, I'm like, you know what? I'll take my loss. I'll take my defeat. Exactly, right? But the standout performance for me there, Chalobah again, De Ligt again, Enzo as well, Njai, Tavernier. I love Tav, especially when he's a fit Tav. An absolute monster.
That goal was a fluke, though.
Yeah, it was a big fluke. It was on target, all right? It was on target.
I mean, it was on target, but
massive deflection. Yeah. I'll take that jab. But in terms of regrets, again, no regrets. I think it was just bad luck. Roster concerns. So I've got Tosin in this league with Sanchez, with Chalobah. I'm just wondering, is it too much coverage and maybe he's a bit of a drop?
Yeah, so I picked up Tosin last week as a stream because I think Maresca really likes him.
Yeah.
Weirdly, considering he was like with all the fancy toys that Chelsea have, that they've gone for the, he likes the free agent from last season. But I think I can see for most of the season, I think he's going to bounce on and off for a lot of managers because he'll put up a decent score, then he'll put up a 6 or 6.5 like he did this weekend, and I think people will think how reliable is that? But I think he's probably one of those ones that's always good to have on your bench because he probably will start, and Chelsea are a pretty good team.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense? So I think but obviously the issue is you then will miss the odd one like the Ballard or someone like that because you've got him. So I guess it all depends on your risk appetite and how solid your other defenders are. Say for example you've got a Porro, an AWB, and then maybe like a Coyote, like I'm not, or somewhat like you've got 3 pretty solid assets. I can see why you go, you know what, I'll chase upside.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like for me is looking at the game week is just it's the first game of the game week against Fulham. And I hate going heavy in a starting fixture.
That's understandable.
So I would rather give myself that flex spot because I've already got the 2 defensive assets. So yeah, it's one that I'm kind of toying up and is like, can I maybe just nickel and dime him to some manager or something like that as well? Like, and I mean, we always see these cat and dog analogies, right, with centre backs in terms of who cannibalizes the other. So I'm fully expecting, there'll be a game where Chalobah doesn't get much points, and then Tosin's the one that kind of smashes it as well. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those where I think you just stick with him or you don't. The other concerns I had was Adingra. I mean, obviously a fluky start to the season, his 9 points, which included the assist, and then gets subbed off early with his 1.5 points, I think, this week. We saw the likes of Elf come off the bench, get 2 to 3 points or something like that. I don't know how I feel about either one of those options at the moment in my roster.
Yeah, I think Adingra, arguably lucky not to be sent off as well, by the way. I think he's a player that sort of, I really like him. He's exciting, but he flatters to deceive in terms of he does a lot, but then there's not a huge lot of output. And there is another analogy I could use. I'm not going to. ELF, Enzalafi, I think it's not going to happen for him. For context, I have now just looked at the scores and they're losing 1-0 at home to Huddersfield and he started even playing the entire game.
Oh, yeah.
It's not
a
great.
Good look.
Yeah, League One Huddersfield. I think it's one of those where Sunderland will have some exciting assets, but generally speaking, I think they're just going to a lot of the players will just be decent and do a decent job. They'll get 7 points. Like Xhaka, even Xhaka, I think people were hopeful in terms of he might, with the set pieces and things, have a decent floor, but even he looks to have, in say a decent floor, 6 or 7, but then isn't really getting forward.
Yeah. So I don't know if Adingra, maybe you kind of trade him because of the name value as well. The average manager will probably just know him, right?
Yeah, I'd certainly float it.
Yeah, exactly.
Given there was a bit of hype, certainly in certain circles, when he first moved, people going, he could be a mid 2, or mid 3, which I'm sure some game weeks he could be, but I think the difference between Adingra at Brighton and Adingra at Sunderland is at Brighton there was a really exciting attacking assets around him. He'd be laying the ball off to Pedro, who'd just be shooting on sight. Welbeck was in amazing form. It might well be he was playing it across the box to Mitoma, who at times would be bang them in. I think that's the key differential. I'm not saying that he couldn't do it, but I'd happily trade him for a bit more of a reliable player. Say, for example, like it's crazy. You could probably easily get Stack for Adingra.
Yeah.
After this game,
that's a
just
great
gone,
shout.
you probably could.
Yeah.
And like, who would you rather who would you rather be running out on a Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. just to have some like points in the bag? I know who I'd rather.
Yeah. And I want 90-minute men in my roster, especially my starting 11. Yeah, great point. And then final concern, Solanke. This is a discussion that we've kind of had in the Discord as well, right? We're fairly bullish about Richarlison being the main man. Obviously, Thomas has come out and said that he's starting number 9. But with the international break coming up, I mean, Richarlison having to travel for Brazil because I believe he was selected as well.
Okay.
And then, on the eve of the Champions League starting up as well, surely Solanke is going to be the main man rest of the season, right? We're going to see more starts from Solanke than Richarlison.
I don't agree.
Really? Oh, I love that. Why?
I don't think we're going to see more. I mean, Richarlison was shit hot on the weekend. He was everywhere. He was in terms of when he's on his game and terrorising defenders, he's one of those players where if he plays for your team or if he's one of your fan tracks players, you're loving him just getting involved. And if you're against him, you hate him. I think we'll probably see a clear 50-50 split towards the end of the season. I think if you're a Solanke owner, you need to be getting Richarlison in. What you probably want to do is if he goes away to Brazil, try and get him in if he looks like he's going to be coming back late. But I think given the way that Frank said, I will be varying my lineup depending on who we're coming up against, doesn't scream to me, oh, I have every faith in Dom and I want him, I'm going to starting him so that he can get on the score sheet. If that was going to be the case, we probably would have seen him start, or not necessarily start on the weekend, but get more minutes than he did. Richarlison has not put a foot wrong.
Yeah, no, great points as well. And now I'm wondering, can I possibly use Adingra as part of a trading chip to get Richarlison in?
I mean, God loves a trier.
Especially me. All right. You want to mention any other leagues or any other rosters, or shall we take our halftime pod?
All good.
Yeah? Okay. All right, listeners. So that's it for this segment. We will take a quick break and we will be back to answer some questions. So we'll see you in a bit. And we are back. So you had some interesting stats you might want to share, given the break.
So I just had a look, and Sunderland up against the mighty Huddersfield. Enzo Lafay has got a poor rating, but he has got 3 key passes. So from sort of fan tracks purposes, that's one to be looking at. And Marc Guy, however you want to pronounce it, has just scored. So
yeah.
Good for him.
Very promising. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what Sunderland end up doing with that number 9 position. Because, I mean, listen, Mayenda has pace, but he has a horrible conversion rate. And Isidore, I think, is probably the best out of the 3, but Guy is he's got potential to be a great starting number 9 as well.
Yeah, he's a handful, isn't he? Which I think people like. Although Mayenda, you said about the conversion, very unlucky not to score that one from Ballard. A chance this weekend, but I think you are right. I think part of the issue is going to be with that none of them is going to stamp their authorities. They're all just kind of sort of average at about 60 minutes each over the season, if that makes any sense. And I think that's fine if you're getting 60 minutes for a team that scores 3 goals quite regularly, but they're going to be like feasting on not a lot. So I think it's going to be a real struggle. I am really interested to see what happens though, but I think with Guy, sorry if I'm absolutely wreaking havoc with that name. I think
it's Guy. I think it's Guy.
Okay, I've watched most of the videos of them. Everyone pronouncing their name, but I just by the time it gets to Sunderland, I get bored and click off. My concern with him will be that they don't own him. So from their point of view, there's no desperation to develop him if the other players look like they're going to be a bit more promising.
Yeah. Good point. All right, cool. So we've got a few questions. So I think let's jump straight into those. So I'll kick things off with our first one from Someone88. It's confession time. I want to hear about your successful attempts in sabotaging your opponents. Did you lure them to draft trash players, offloaded a dud via trade? I'll share. I baited my opponent into picking Martinelli via the chat window during the draft. I said I could not believe how diehard Arsenal fans were overlooking one of their own, a certain big name winger.
So generally, I try to be a gentleman in leagues. I hate to sort of rip people off or send out a trade to, if I've seen the news that someone's got an injury, I don't really like to be that person just because I know how pissed off I'd be if I was on the other end. But formerly in my home league, there was one where to wind up my opponent, who obviously I'd known for years. It was, we were playing against each other. It's very tight. He needed to play a midfielder on a Monday night game, and there was only one that would be available, and I had a free bench spot, and that player was Mark Noble. But the thing is, who had scored a couple of pens now and then, but you couldn't really make a case for wanting to roster him. So I picked him up just in the afternoon, when I realised I'd done this, realised that this was a situation, just sort of get in his head. And he exploded. Deleted the chat, deleted it because he was our commissioner. Threatened to burn down the entire league.
Oh my god!
So, which was in one sense brilliant because it just was funnier than it ever could have been. But also at the same time was is the player probably going to score 4.5? It's probably not going to be enough, but just to have it happen. And then was forcibly using commissioner powers to take him out of my team and force him onto the waiver wire. So then I was making sort of a faux case for no, long term I can see that he's, it's his last season and they're going to want to utilise him and all this sort of stuff just to really get in his head. So that one stands out for me. What about you?
For me, I've never been the one to be the bad guy. Though I will say it's happened in reverse where someone tried to block me. And I mean, it's a famous tactic that we tell people you can do in fan tracks, where your week might be done, but you've got a free bench spot, and to prevent someone else in a different matchup from succeeding, you go and try to grab the best asset possible to prevent them from winning. And this happened, I think, a couple seasons ago, and I think it was in the same league as Robbie. I was playing someone else. I think it was some Flying Bananas guy or something. I don't think he's part of our community anymore, but I think it was Crystal Palace versus Arsenal, and he went and tried to grab the last Arsenal defender possible. And I was obviously I got to the point with my Fantrax career or whatever where I didn't care to rush to go get assets. I'm like, you know what? Whoever's left, I'll just grab, because more often than not, I've seen it happen where that tends to be the guy that just smashes it in the end. And I think I got left with Tyreek Mitchell or something like that of Crystal Palace, and kept a clean sheet and absolutely smashed it, and I won my game week in the end.
Karma.
So
karma. But that's the way I look at it. When I say absolutely hate it, I'd made that comment, that joke about that. I did that a few years ago, but it really frustrates me when people there's one thing I know, it's about winning, but the way I look at it is it will come back to bite you in the ass at some point in the 100%. Future, and then people will always say, "Oh well, I live by the door, die by the sword. I'll be fine with that." It's no, you won't. I know full well you'll be in there ranting and raving and saying, "How could this happen to me?"
Yeah. You won't like it being done to you. Why do it to someone else? Right?
Yeah, exactly. But I do get the temptation. I completely understand it. If you can get in someone's head, it can be very good.
I think it's easier to do that in a home league where you 100%. Know the lads for years and years and years versus random community leagues. Why you want to piss off this random stranger on the internet, yo?
That's exactly it. It's and some people are oh, if it guarantees me the win, I've managed to do it with 10 players. But I'm similar to you. It's well, good for you, but just come on, it's not that deep.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, I think Leeds are. Oh, I saw a dotted thing on.
They're 1-0 down.
I thought Leeds were about to score.
They're
still 1-0 down.
They have scored.
Oh, have they?
Yeah.
Oh, tell me it's my boy Stock because he is on the pitch.
No,
now.
it's Haroon's boy, Jaden Bogle. Boogle.
Well, stocks, man. Zoinks. All right. We've got a couple of questions from Sweetness McBossman. Do you want to take his first one?
Of course, yeah. So the first one, non-Fantrax related, is please rank your favourite to least favourite condiments of fries/chips.
See, he didn't even give us condiments to rate, so we're going to have to come up with our own.
Correct.
Should we come up with like a quick list of condiments?
Okay, quick fire. We'll say one each. We'll do it a few goes. Right, you go first.
Ketchup, obviously.
Okay, mayo.
Mayo. Mustard.
Crazy. Barbecue sauce.
Yeah. Yuppie sauce. Have you heard of this before?
No, I have not.
It's honestly, I know it's such a bad saying, and people are like, "Oh, you've never tried crack," but it tastes like crack.
Great. Okay, sweet. Gravy.
Gravy. Oh, that's good one. Curry sauce.
Oh, that's not a bad shout. I mean, at this point, we can't say like garlic mayo.
Yeah, I think let's wrap it up at garlic mayo.
Okay.
That probably we've got like 8 sauces there. That's surely enough, right?
I mean, we could be here all day. I think for me, the key question. So I know I asked you first, but the key thing is fries and chips. You want different condiments.
Yeah.
So I guess, well, for me, it's a different type of potato, really.
Oh, so when he says fries and chips, the thing is, Sweetness is from America, right? So
exactly.
As people that live in the UK, this is a big discussion point. What is chips?
But in my eyes, like fries, we're talking McDonald's fries.
Yeah.
And
chips,
we're talking like fish and chips, maybe slightly thicker. So I think for me, it might well be that you have two different condiments. So if I said to you, you're having McDonald's, what you're having is your dip.
Oh, I don't know. I really don't like the McDonald's dips.
Okay, sorry. Okay, but I meant in terms of like that kind of thickness of those ones that we've just said. What are you going to go for? Yuppie sauce.
I'm gonna start with the worst. Go up.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna put barbecue at the bottom. Actually.
Wow.
What about yourself?
I'm gonna put ketchup at the bottom.
Wow, why ketchup? Ketchup is like the OG of sauces.
I hate tomato ketchup. I just have like a weird, it makes me feel like makes my skin go.
Oh, really? That's so interesting. Okay. Next, I will okay, let's rank them together because it's gonna take up too much time to create two separate lists. So let's go barbecue and ketchup. 8 and 7. Is that fine?
Fine by me. But barbecue probably would have been my number one.
Really?
I'm a fan. We'll keep. But I'm happy with it there. It's fine.
Okay, next I will probably go mayo as number 6.
Yeah,
I don't understand the fascination.
No, I don't mind if it's in the bottom of a burger and stuff, or sometimes in a sandwich, but I don't really like it as a dip.
Agreed. Who are you going to put at number 5 then?
Oh, well, I can't really comment on your suggestion because that seems cruel, but I think we're going to have that higher. Gravy's really high up for me, so I guess if we maybe say curry, what do we say? Garlic mayo is a bit of an odd one.
Yeah, garlic mayo is probably odd for fries. I think it's probably better in like a wrap or something like that.
Exactly. Or if you're really hammered, it's quite good with fries.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so number 4 then, because you're not familiar with it, I'm going to put yuppie sauce there. And I definitely would recommend trying it, though I'm not sure you can get it in the UK, so that's probably cash 22 there.
That's fine. It sounds like it's worth a flight.
Number 3, who are you gonna go?
What have we got? Curry. What have we got left? Curry sauce,
mustard, gravy, and curry sauce.
Oh, hang on. Mustard should have been mild to the bottom. Mustard with chips is insane.
Yeah, I mean, mustard and yuppie sauce are kind of common. There is, I think, a heavy mustard base in yuppie sauce, so that's fine. We'll put mustard at 3. I think probably we'd swap barbecue and mustard. I'm probably willing to do that for you.
Yeah.
So then last 2, we've got gravy and curry sauce. Oh.
For me, I'm going gravy top, but that's because I live in Yorkshire.
Oh, agreed. I will go gravy top as well. I love myself some poutine. And curry sauce, I think it depends where you get it.
100% agree with you. If you get a good place, it's really good. If you get a bad, watery one, not good at all.
Agreed. Lovely. So gravy wins, guys. Okay, so Sweetness McBossman's next question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how worried are you about the following players? And we'll go one at a time. 1 being, I guess I'm extremely worried, and 10 is they're fantastic. So Florian Wirtz.
3.
Ooh, that is interesting. I'm gonna put him 5, I think.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure where to put him.
I think that's understandable. Yeah, I'm more concerned than I am happy if I'm a Verts owner.
Is it weird that I put the scale that way around?
Yeah, I think we should flip
it. Okay, let's flip the scale then. So it's a 7 for Wits. 7 or 8 Wits. Okay. Yeah. All right. So 1 being the best, 10 being the worst, guys. Bowen.
As in 10 being the most concerned.
10 being the most concerned. Yeah.
Okay. Bowen 6.
Ooh, I think I'll go 5 again.
Okay.
Still not sure. I think I'm leaning towards the. Okay, you know what? If I'm gonna come off the fence, I'll go 3.
Okay. So you're not.
I just love Bowen. No, yeah. I just think West Ham are gonna turn things around either by fixing the system or firing Potter.
Okay, fair point.
Yeah. And Mbeumo.
2.
Yeah, I think I'll go 3 as well.
It probably could have. I mean, the goal that was disallowed.
Yeah, I mean he's on corners as well. It seems like he has a monopoly on that, at least.
Yeah, he's taking lefty corners, and I think the own goal that Muniz scored, if it wasn't an own goal, it would have been his assist.
Yeah, I mean I think he still got the assist for it. I don't know if they removed it on Fantrax or not, because I came up against it in way more owners, so it might have been like assist for an own goal sort of situation, right? One of those fantasy assists, let's call it. Ahmad.
8.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 7, 8. I think again, system, Amram getting fired, something's got to change for Ahmad's value to go up. Marmoush.
9.
10.
You're just fully out on Marmoush.
Yeah, I mean, it was something that I shared on like Inside Tracks chats, preseason chats as well. Like Pep is just gonna be Pep, change system, roulette. I mean, the fact that he's not even playing close to 90 minutes, at least 80 minutes or something, it's a massive concern. Massive concern. Tielemans.
6.
Ooh, I'm gonna say 4.
Okay, I think.
Why are we split on this?
He scored. I mean, a lot of it has been like set piece reliance. And if Cash is eating into that, then that would be a concern for me. It's more that I just think that middle of the park is quite congested. Kamara, Onana have both been really good. I know he'll usually start, be it one of those two or the 10, but I think Villa need a big shake-up, and it might well be that he is affected somewhat in that.
Yeah, that's fair. For me, I think it's just a class player. I think eventually things are just going to balance out across the season. He's going to have a few hauls. And he'll probably still match his draft day value. Solanke. Oh my god. We're going to be split on this.
Solanke, I'm going to say 8.
I'm going to go 3. I think we're just completely split on this. And that's fair. That's fine. Still very early into the season. Either one of us can be right or wrong. So
yeah, big time. I guess I'm more concerned given how poor he was at times last season, that it's not like we're looking at when he was at Bournemouth, that score. We're looking at like, can he get back to last season? It's like, if he can get back to last season, that's not a great load of numbers.
Yeah. Good point. McNeil.
10. He's cooked.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's not looking good, man. I think like you're gonna have to hold out on him, maybe going on loan to like another Premier League team, like I don't know, Regen Burnley or some shit.
Yeah, I've not even seen a single reference to it at all. And the player you've not mentioned at any point today when we've talked about Everton, they've just signed Tyler Dibbling. We've not mentioned
another dribbly boy. So it's clear David Moyes has a way of trying to roll out this Everton team. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a fantastic signing, especially as an understudy for Grealish.
Oh no, I think Dibbling's a brilliant signing, but I meant in terms of McNeil, it's just another player that's relative. And I know
that kills his value.
Go, he could play left back or could play right back. They've been playing a centre back at right back and James Garner at left back, and McNeil still hasn't had a look in. Like that's just copium at this point.
Absolute damning. Yeah. And then final name here, Strand Larson.
2. I mean, I know it helps that he scored 2 tonight, but you knew what you were going to get with Strand Larson, which is he doesn't ghost a huge amount, but he'll probably manage to get double digits. Like over the course of the season, he'll probably score like 12 goals, say.
Yeah, I mean, national team, he plays with the likes of Holland. I'm not saying to expect that sort of quality and output, but I think the player is really, really good. And, you know, we're hearing a lot of strong links to Newcastle as well. And if that happens, man, I would be over the moon to be owning Strand Larson if he's the starting striker for the Magpies.
Yeah, the only reason I can't see that move happening is it will all but relegate Wolves because they won't have time to get an inappropriate backup. But yeah, 100%. I with Strand Larson, yeah, I wouldn't be concerned.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Final question coming from Ghost FC. Do you want to take this one?
Of course. So one of your favourite players. Is Raul Jimenez droppable? He's noted that he's thinking of holding him until game week 4 versus Leeds.
I mean, I feel like this was last season all over again, right?
Mm-hmm.
The minute people see an asset being benched, they just panic and drop immediately. I think if you've drafted well enough or even used the waiver wire well enough, you really should afford to, carry a good asset being benched for the odd game or so. For me, yeah, I think I would try to be patient if possible. I know we talked about, sometimes how shaky it can be to roster forwards this season. I think be a bit patient.
Yeah, I think you look at Jimenez. What's changed since draft day? Nothing.
Yeah.
Like they've not brought in anyone new. I know Muniz is talking of signing a new contract, but when you drafted him, you knew he was going to be sharing minutes with Muniz. You knew that he probably, if he did start, would be coming off at 65. And if he didn't start coming on, for the last half an hour, nothing there has changed. He just didn't score in the first 2 game weeks, and Muniz scored in week 1. Like that's literally all I can see. So I can see the temptation, but yeah, as you said, you shouldn't be at panic stations already. That this isn't game week 19.
Yeah.
And rotation is fully kicked in. It's just one of those where this should have been baked into your draft strategy.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So those are the questions, and that is the pod. Elliot, it's been an absolute pleasure podding with you again, buddy. I'm gonna have to bring you back on because honestly, I do enjoy our chats thoroughly on and off the Discord.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Always enjoy it, and yeah, Discord's just great fun. So if anyone's listening that isn't on there, get involved.
Yeah. Before we sign off, any final pieces of advice you want to share with our managers?
Nothing that jumps out of me majorly, but don't be afraid to send trade offers out. That's one of the most fun parts of the game, and I know everyone is wanting to sort of win a trade or is like really precious about their assets, but it's not gonna like make or break or ruin your season. Like if you manage to do one trade that doesn't necessarily slightly go that way, I love being really active trade wise and sending them out. Probably much to the people in my league's annoyance, but I'd say I think it's always a fun thing to be chatting about, and the sort of mental gymnastics are part of why I enjoy it.
Yeah. I definitely need to try and do more trades this season. And honestly, I think I'm gonna try and put out a trade for for Richarlison, so I can get a cuff with my Solanke asset.
On that note, I think even if you slightly overpay for Richarlison, which is annoying, you probably could have got him quite cheap. If you actually look at it, they are tending to go like 75 minutes or so. It's not like you've got a 55-minute situation. And I think it will just make you feel a bit better about Solanke. Because if, say, you slightly overpay for Richarlison, but after game week 4, Richarlison's back on the bench and Solanke smashes it, you're happy anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fantastic point. And my final piece of advice, guys, just remember, try and have fun. A lot of the random shit that we've seen in the first 2 game weeks, be it injuries or freak scores that you come up against, a lot of the shit is random. Don't beat yourself up over it. It's a fucking game. Take it easy. Don't be reacting. And this is the reason why we have spaces like Discord, right? Come have a vent, come have a wine, fine. But you just pick yourself up, move forward, and just try and enjoy the rest of the season, man. It's not that serious. But yeah, listeners, it's been a pleasure. Until next time, peace.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.